Hi there, today I'm going to talk about direct object pronouns. A direct object receives the action. Okay, so it's direct, receives it directly, the action, because in the next lesson we're going to talk about indirect objects, which is to or for whom an action occurs, but the direct object receives the action. So a direct object pronoun, remember pronouns replace nouns. Okay, so a direct object is a noun. If we're replacing it with a direct object pronoun, remember when we talked about subject pronouns? It was like instead of saying a person's name, we would say she ran to the store. Instead of saying Sarah ran, we replace a noun with a pronoun. So in this case, we're replacing a direct object, right? A person, place, or a thing. An object is a noun. We're replacing a direct object noun with a direct object pronoun. So those words are, for example, in English, we say it. So I wash the car, I wash it. Because I'd sound kind of silly if I said, I bought a car, I drove the car home, I washed the car, right? We wouldn't keep saying the car, we would replace it with it. So the direct object pronouns in Spanish are me, te, lo, la, because we have male and female for it. We also have male, female, singular, plural for it, and them. I'm sorry, it changes to them, for us, for y'all. Okay, all right, so these are our direct object pronouns. So let's break it down into steps. Let's use a really simple sentence. For example, lavo el coche. Like I was just saying, I wash the car. All right, so instead of saying first of all, let's break it down in steps and say, what do I do first to figure out what's the direct object in my sentence? All right, well, first thing is, well, what's my verb? So identify the verb. Identify the verb. Okay, what's the verb in my sentence? Lavo, I wash. That's my verb. Okay, then my question, remember, is what's receiving the action? Well, my verb is the action. What's receiving the action of being washed? The car. Okay, remember whatever receives the action in the sentence is my direct object. So this is my direct object, it. Well, right now it says the car, and I want to replace it, right? I don't want to sound silly and say the car, the car, the car. I want to say it. So I'm going to replace it. Instead of direct object, I'm going to change it to a direct object pronoun. So I like to write it like this. So what do? I identify the verb, I jumped ahead, and then we identified the direct object. And then I said, okay, now we're going to replace the direct object with one of these. Okay, well, which one would replace el coche? It's not me, it's not you. It's el coche is the male form of he, right? I washed him, the car. So it, I washed it, would be lo or la. It's singular and it's male, right? El is single male, so we're going to replace it with a direct object pronoun, singular male. In this case, it's going to be lo. All right, and the last step is to rewrite the order of the sentence. So let's rewrite the sentence, and our structure is going to be the direct object pronoun plus my conjugated verb. After you get past the different steps, this is pretty easy. We don't have to change our verb at all. We're not doing any verb conjugations, and that's probably the number one error that I get with students doing this section, is that they think they have to conjugate the verbs because that's what you've been doing for maybe 2 semesters now, right? However, we do not conjugate your verb. So what's my direct object pronoun again? We decided that it was lo, so I'm going to just rewriting my sentence. Instead of saying I wash the car, I'm going to say I wash it. Well, in Spanish, it sounds kind of funny. They're going to say it, I wash. And what did I say about your verb? We're not conjugating it. I'm not changing who's doing the action. It's still me doing the action. So my verb isn't changing. It's still lavo. It's just that I'm changing the direct object to a pronoun. Instead of saying the car, I'm saying it. And the order is it, I wash. So the direct object pronoun is going to come first from your list over here that you chose. Does it match in gender? Does it match the subject? Okay. Or the direct object, sorry. And then the verb stays the same. That's it. Lo, lavo. I wash it. It, I wash. Super simple. Use these 4 steps to write all of your sentences, and that should break it down. Now, this order right here you can use for all of the sentences that you're rewriting with a direct object pronoun. Even when we have progressive tense verb tenses, and even when we have infinitives, there are other constructions that we can use to write a different order instead of the direct object pronoun plus the conjugated, but that's another lesson. The key here is that this one you can use for all of the conjugated verbs and the infinitive. So it doesn't matter what's your verb here, if it's conjugated, and so on, or if it's an infinitive, or if it's a progressive tense. We can still use the direct object pronoun before the conjugated verb.